My Gaming Edge.
Hello everyone, this is Bloodsire from My Gaming Edge, and I'm very happy to bring you guys the first of a four-part installment in which I analyze the mid-rollouts of the four land qualifying teams. This week, or today I should say, I'll be starting with Complexity on Badlands, and the goal of this series is to sort of provide you guys with an analysis of each particular team's strengths and weaknesses on mid-fights on maps that will likely be seen in the LAN tournament down in Dallas. So, since this is the first of the four, let me go ahead and talk about mid-fights a little bit in general. Some of this is common knowledge, some of this might not be so, but in general, we all know that mid-fights determine the pace for that particular round. We see teams all the time win middle, and then that gives them an open opportunity to go ahead and cap second, and maybe even if it's a wipe on mid, or if they're able to kill the remaining people at second, oftentimes push into last and cap last. So obviously, we all know middle is one of the most, if not the most important fights in the entire map, in the round, on the map, what have you. Since middle, in general, teams don't have Uber yet. We all know scouts are the most powerful when they don't have to worry about the Uber dynamic. If your team doesn't have Uber, if their team doesn't have Uber, it sort of opens up the playing field for scouts to do things, to get into the DM and whatnot. So on middle fights where there is no Uber, scouts are, generally speaking, at their most powerful. To that regard, they're also quite vulnerable, and I'm sure we would all agree that while, if I were to compare this to chess for a second, if you'll let me, while the medic pick would sort of be like a checkmate, and the demo pick would sort of be like taking out the other team's queen, killing a scout right off the bat is sort of taking out half their pawns. And for those of you who don't know anything about chess, pawns are those little throwaway pieces that sort of allow yourself to set up the rest of your pieces and ultimately try to win the game. But they're the setup pieces, and eliminating half of them right off the bat, or in this case, if I go back and get rid of this shitty metaphor to go back to TF2, to get rid of one scout right off the bat is greatly going to hurt that team, because they're not going to have a class that's arguably at its most powerful during that fight. And what I mean by that is that we all know that soldiers like to get to middle, get their buff, or have their buff, gumbo to middle, what have you, and then bomb the medic or bomb the demo. Like I said, either two of those picks are going to be a huge advantage for your team. But it's often, especially at the higher levels of TF2, not that simple. You might not be able to get to the medic. You might be well guarded, or the demo man might be well buffed, and simply bombing these players won't net you anything but a dead soldier on your team. One way to open up the field, and this is where that chess comparison comes in, is to quickly down a scout. Because when a team's down a scout, they're down mobility, they're down flanking ability, they're down that sort of sheep herding sort of damage that scouts can do at middle. So one of the things that you see the best teams often do, and I know the four demo man in the LAN finals will be doing this, at least most of the mid-fights, is to target a scout on middle. They get there either coordinated with their scout, and they'll either put a sticky, or they'll have their scout put a scouting gun and then a sticky onto an enemy scout. And what that does is, right off the bat, not only does it frustrate the opposing scout and cause him to go back, but it's gonna cause him to take a whole lot of heals away from his team, whether it be him going to grab the health pack and wasting the health pack, or him falling back to the medic. Now, if he goes back to a health pack, that's basically a free bomb for your your bombing soldier. If your roaming soldier jumps in and he notices the weak scout, or he's calmed, or he gets the calm that there's a weak scout, he can jump in. The scout's likely hurt. The health pack's not going to heal him all the way, and he can get that free pick before jumping and moving on to try to pick the medic. On the other hand, if that weak scout falls back to the medic, well, now you have a very weak player with a very defenseless player. And that's often another way. At the very least, if you don't kill the medic, you at least damage him while probably picking that scout, which then opens it up for the rest of your team to push in, because that medic's going to have to play passive and whatnot. So as a general thing, what I'm trying to get at right here with mid-fights is that at the invite level, at the LAN qualifying team level, you're going to see a lot of this metagame of who to damage, who to focus, and the sort of domino effect of hurt this player, push in on their weakness, and take out the rest of their team. And hopefully, what I can do with these videos is show you how the individual teams do that, what they focus, how they use their bombers, their demos, and their scouts to hurt people, to push on people, and eventually work their way towards winning the round. So with all that being said, let's get to Complexity's starting six, the members who will be at LAN. On the scout positions, we have their flagship members in Enigma and Carnage, the terrorizing scout duo. Carnage with that high damage, in-your-face gameplay, and Enigma with that movement-savvy, smart gameplay. They create quite the force to be reckoned with. Over on demo, we have Smacka, who is one of the smartest demo men of the 4 qualifying demo men. Then in the combo role, we have Blackie Monster, the Renegade, who often tries to milk Uber and surf as many rockets as possible. He's being led by Platinum on Pocket Soldier, who is a very solid DMer and overall good soldier. And then, of course, we have Relic, who's been settling into that roaming role, who's recently picked up his timing and his positioning. So, all in all, we have a lot of weapons for Complexity, and that's going to come in big on LAN. Obviously, it helped them get to LAN, and it should help them get deep into LAN. On middle, they arguably have one of the better rosters, because I would say their roster lends towards their scouts and demo man, who are basically the forefront of every middle play. On this demo that we will be reviewing in a moment, you'll see that the map is Badlands, and Badlands, as I'm sure you all know, is one of those maps where a demo man can actually get to middle before the scouts. So that plays more into Complexity's hands, as their demo and their scouts will arrive there quick, be able to fight the other demo and the scouts, and do as much damage as possible, and open up the field for their soldiers and whatnot. So let's go ahead and take a look at Complexity and their rollout. I will be starting at 8:07 in the match, the beginning of the second round. So let's go ahead and unpause it at 8:07 in the match. And I'm going to be viewing this from a third-person view, right above middle, and at 50% speed to give you guys a better understanding of how the mid play rolls out. So here we are. We're waiting for Complexity and Check 6 to make it into middle. I believe Kalkin's going to arrive there first, but Smack is going to get the first sticky onto him, which will put the fight right in his favor. And that's where what I said before with the whole demo and scout thing. Obviously, they get to mid first, and that comes in big. So here we can see Kalkin's arriving just about when Smacker arrives. He gets a stick onto Smacker, but Smacker returns the favor, and we have a scout with him in the back of the train. And if you notice at the bottom of the screen, here come Complexity's combo, and we have the bomb from Relic. He's going to the back of their train to counter Check 6's bombers as Platinum delays from Valley, and there he goes bombing onto the enemy's train. He's able to take out the demo. Now Blackie was safe the entire time because he was just chilling in the Valley, and then here he comes to walk up onto the rest of the point with his teammates. Platinum's gonna go down, but here's where Complexity's going to shine, as they have their demo and their scout up, and this is really where they're going to do well in these transitional plays, especially against Check 6, who really uses all 6 of their players to win, when it breaks down into the fight like this, and Complexity has their scout and their demo and even their medic to heal, it should go in Complexity's favor. You notice there's a scout soldier medic for check 6 and scout demo medic for Complexity, and Smack is able to keep Blackie safe with stickies onto the enemy players, and Carnage is able to run around, run amok and do his thing and kill people. So great play from Complexity. They were able to basically lock out the other team, and as you can see, they're going to cap mid pretty easily. So just to recap, and I will be providing a screenshot just to show you guys a little bit how that worked out, because even though we watched it at around 50% speed, it happens pretty quickly, and you can imagine the in-game, while it's happening, happens even quicker, and we all know mid-fights can be over in a second. So what happened was, Smacker went out house, which is a common rollout. Calkin also did that, and he was immediately accompanied by a scout on his team. I believe that was Carnage. Meanwhile, Blackie Monster and his soldiers, Relic and Platinum, went Valley. Now, right away, once Relic got there, he jumped to his side of train, knowing that Dave AC or a soldier would probably want to jump, who was ever there on his team, being Smacka and Carnage. At that point, Platinum and Blackie in the Valley were pretty much safe to just hang around in the Valley, and you could see they kind of stayed safe by the enemy team's cubby. Now, once that happened, that freed up Platinum to jump onto their train, forcing the rest of Check 6 to react. That allowed Blackie to then run up, free from the bomb, because this was after the timing of the bomb. He was free to go up onto the up the valley by the little hoodoo, that's the little spire-looking thing, for those of you who don't know. Catch Smacka, try to save Platinum a little bit, but he goes down. But, like we saw, he was able to heal Smacka and heal Carnage, which eventually worked out in their favor, because they were able to damage and kill people and lock out the rest of the Check 6. So, I know that'll happen quickly, and it's hard to see it all from a screenshot, so let's take one more look at it, this time from 100% speed, that's normal speed. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause it at 8:23 in the match right now, and let's go ahead and just watch. Alright, and as you saw, it all happened very, very quickly. Both those soldiers on Check 6 tried to bomb, but because of Relic's smart play onto his train, he was able to sort of counter them. That allowed Blackie and Platinum to delay, like we've been saying, and which allowed Platinum to put a lot of damage on Check 6, forcing them to react, and then it allowed Carnage and Smacka, along with Blackie Monster, to be fully healed up once they got back behind the train and sort of push out and damage from there. Two things I didn't mention, which are important. Enigma did go into their cubby, the enemy team's cubby, which, along with Platinum's bomb, forced Check 6 to make them react. And the other thing is that one of the soldiers, I'm not sure who it is, but one of the Check 6 soldiers actually gets behind Complexity on this play. And even though they were able to cap middle off that play, that soldier is going to be able to come back in and make Blackie Monster pop in the ensuing moments. So even though they did win mid off that smart positioning and play, one of the things they failed to do was to clean up that soldier, or at least block him out well enough to keep their medic with Uber and ultimately push in and win the round. But like we did see, they were able to take middle, so that'll be something to watch out for on LAN. as you saw, they went Valley, but they didn't bring their demo with them. They brought their demo and their scout through House. So a little bit of a mix-up from the full Valley rush that teams like to run. And teams have been running that strategy for quite some time now. So it's always interesting to see how teams mix it up, mix and match it here and there. You just saw how Complexity brought their combo and a scout into Valley to cause pressure by Check 6's train. Meanwhile, they put a scout and a demo on their train, followed up by Relic's bomb to put pressure on their train. So they were able to, divide and conquer in a sense, as they locked down their train with their demo and scout and then their bombing soldier, and then they were able to sort of put pressure onto the other team's train and sort of push Check 6 all the way back towards their forward spawn area as the fight progressed. So that'll definitely be something to watch out for on LAN. Among other plays that I'm sure Complexity has up their sleeves, and one of the purposes of these series of videos is to show you guys what teams like to do at middle, to not only give you guys a little preemptive what to watch for at LAN, but also help you guys too in what you decide to do on middle, to show you guys what the top teams, the ESEA Invite LAN qualifying teams, what those top dogs like to do on certain middles and what works for them, and you guys could sort of take from that and pull from that and create good middle strategies of your own. I broke down the middle play a lot in this video, and I plan to do that for the other teams on other maps as well, but it is important to note that middle isn't always so scientific and so exact. Sometimes it's just it's a free-for-all mess, but you need to go into middle with a plan. And as you could see, it looks like Complexity here had a solid plan of what they wanted to do, and once they executed that, to an extent, they were able to then let their natural ability, their DM, their teamwork, what have you, sort of come in and win the battle for them, and that's always important to remember too. So yeah, hopefully you guys learned a lot from this. Be on the lookout for the 3 other installments of this series, and yeah, hopefully it won't be so long. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a summary of mid battles and a little bit of an introduction into what I'm trying to do here. So sorry if this took a little longer than I wanted it to, but yeah, I hope to see you guys again in the next video. So thanks for watching.